Hey everyone, welcome to the Host Church video for Palm Sunday, week before Easter, as we're starting to wind down our Scars series. And actually, I miscalculated on the number of Sundays before Easter, and my plan was to follow the same pattern, choose a character in the Bible, imagine what Jesus would say to them, and then I realized I had this extra Sunday I didn't plan for, but it worked out really well because what I wanted to talk about was how do we, the church, be the presence of Jesus to people, coming alongside them saying, "Me too," and then not just empathizing with them, but taking them to victory. So this Sunday was less about how Jesus helps us and more about how we as a church help other people as they recover from their wounds and they become scarred and they become healed. To do that, we looked at the two parades that happened on Palm Sunday. One is Pilate coming in one side of Jerusalem and Jesus coming in the other, and they couldn't be more different. And they both present real strong ways, alternatives for how to live your life. And my question was, I guess over all that, is how do we as a church help people recover from their wounds? And the simple answer is be like Jesus. That's usually the answer, but in this case it really is. Not believe in Jesus, but actually be like Jesus. Be his body. And so the distinction between Pilate's parade and what it stood for and Jesus's parade and what it stood for is really helpful because it shows us what we're choosing when we're going to be like Jesus. What we're actually deciding to arrange our lives around so that we can be the body of Christ for people. So my question was, how do we do it? The answer was, be like Jesus. My light bulb moment came when I realized that to be like Jesus, you can only be his body in community. I'm reading different texts and I'm thinking about what we're choosing, and I just get slammed with this fact in the New Testament that when we're talked about over and over, Paul uses the term one another, one another, one another. Jesus, when he's talking about us in the Lord's Prayer, when he's talking about his disciples, it's always plural. I shouldn't say always, but most of the time it's plural. The clear idea is that we are to do this together. So certainly part of what choosing Jesus means, choosing the Jesus parade instead of the Pilate parade, is to choose community and all the stuff that comes with that. My conviction in all of that was to choose community, that I need to orient myself not around personal wealth, power, or fame like Pilate. And we hear things like wealth, power, fame, and we actually don't think of ourselves, but you're orienting yourself around that, not just if you have it, but if you're trying to get it. You're still in the wrong parade, whether you have it or you're just watching the parade with envy or hatred or whatever. You're still at the wrong parade. To be in the Jesus parade is to be part of the dance with the Trinity, moving forward with your brothers and sisters, all in unity, celebrating things. And then my further conviction was that can't just stay as an idea. That actually has to mean something. And here it means really specifically turning the world upside down in your house church. And it means living and orienting your life as a church around the pursuit of these four prayers that God has given us. So have fun talking about that. This one is really less about us and more about we and how we all together can love one another, serve one another, preserve one another, protect one another, and all of those things that God is calling us to as we march in a very different direction from the rest of the world, but it's for the sake of the world. So have fun talking about all that means for you. See you Easter Sunday.